Hi everybody, I'm Butch Stearns and welcome back into the Pulse on Marketing here at thepulsenetwork.com. Time for our In the Field segment. This is a segment where we go in the field and find a marketing professional, if you will, and talk specifically about a certain subject or a blog or a topic that was written. And for today's In the Field segment, we're talking public relations specifically, and we're bringing in a professor, someone with a PhD. We've never done that on this show, Kyle. So we're getting much smarter as we speak. Let me bring in A.J. Moore, or Dr. Aaron J. Moore, who has a PhD, and he's assistant professor of public relations at Rider University. Hello, A.J., how are you?
Butch, very good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us here on the Pulse on Marketing.
Sure.
You write an article about the fallout at Penn State and about Joe Paterno. Very interesting article, by the way. Thought it was very well written. You talk about the title of it, The End of the Coach's King Era, the sports media fallout from the Paterno firing. And you raise a lot of issues using the Penn State example and Joe Paterno from a public relations standpoint. And I thought you made a point that I clearly agree with, and I'll read verbatim from your blog. From a public relations standpoint, think about this now, folks. From a PR standpoint, it was not the actions of Jerry Sandusky that ultimately ruined Penn State's brand reputation. It was the lack of action by its most esteemed employee, Joe Paterno. And while some people would jump to the conclusions and say, well, no, wait a minute. It was Jerry Sandusky who allegedly raped those boys, and that led to all this. I agree with you on that point. From a PR standpoint, the lack of Joe Paterno stepping in, and when you add in all that Joe Paterno really is, it really is the downfall, or has been the downfall of Penn State so far.
Well, you look at Paterno, besides being the winningest football coach, in essence, he carried the entire brand equity of Penn State in his hands for probably, let's say, the last 35 years. Penn State has become Joe Paterno's workplace. They became, in essence, second to Joe Paterno in Penn State football. And for many years, in the late 1970s until basically 2 or 3 weeks ago, that worked very well for Penn State. Increase in enrollment, increase in visibility. It's a national university. It's got a 100,000 seat stadium. So that handing over of brand equity to Joe Paterno, it worked very well for a long time. However, in many cases of public relations or marketing, when there's a crisis involved, it can change very quickly, and that's what we saw with Penn State.